Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to do another video on police encounter. And if you don't know who Lieutenant Caron, hopefully I'm saying his name right, Caron Nazario. If you don't know who that is by now, he was the second lieutenant in the Army that was stopped in December in Virginia. At that time, he was pepper sprayed, later released during a traffic stop. And you know, honestly, I really wasn't paying attention to this story until I started seeing a lot of memes like on social medias and stuff like that. So my curiosity got raised, and I started to dig into it a little bit more. And not only that, a friend of mine actually who actually watches my videos and wants to know my opinion, she actually sent me a couple of links about it and wanted to know my opinion. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to say that I encourage anybody and everybody to watch the whole traffic stop in its entirety. And I'm going to say the reason why I'm saying this is because is you can't really base your opinion off the 2 minute little blurb on the news. You just can't. If you don't watch the video in entirety, I don't believe you have a right to criticize the officers or Lieutenant Nazario. But anyway, I'm going to leave that link in the description so you watch it, and please take a look at it. The best part, most interesting part is probably at 20 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to say that, um, you know, the traffic stop from my perspective, and I've watched this video 4 times. The traffic stop from my perspective is a legit stop. Basically, if you didn't do your research and you don't know what's going on and you just watch a 2 minute blurb of it, basically what happened is his registration was not displayed where it usually would be. Um, Lieutenant Nazario just purchased the vehicle, so a lot of dealerships, what they do is they put the paper registration in the window, and his windows were tinted, so you couldn't really see it at nighttime. So that's why the traffic stop occurred, and it was a legit stop. So there's no discussion about that. They weren't stopping him because he's a man of color or anything. I just think that a lot of people are embellishing that, and they don't understand that. They don't understand research. So that's number one. Number two, Mr. Lieutenant Nazario actually drove a mile and a half before he was stopped. And it was a good reason. He did that because he wanted to get to a lit area. But in situations like that at nighttime, specifically when your visibility isn't as good as it could be, the officer's suspicions are going to heighten. And I know this for a fact because I was a law enforcement officer for 20 years, and I've been behind vehicles where the person drives another 2 miles, 3 miles, I've been in situations where the encounters were good from that, and I've been in situations where it turned out similar to Lieutenant Nazario's situation where we did a felony stop, and the person was ultimately put in handcuffs until we were able to figure out who they were, or if they committed a crime. I want to say that these reasons for the reasons that everything happened, there weren't necessarily something that was intentional, specifically on Lieutenant Nazario's part. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to get to a lit area, so I don't have a problem with that. If you and now watching the video, he was stopped in the lit area, and then Lieutenant Nazario was able to set up his own camera from his perspective, and the officers had body cams on as well too. So you can see him in the video telling them to, "Why are you stopping me? I'm not getting out of my vehicle." And to be perfectly honest with you guys, like, do you want somebody coming to your job and telling you what to do? Do you? And that's pretty much what Lieutenant Nazario was doing. He was dictating to stop. And from that point on, I knew where it was going to go. I'm just glad and very fortunate that nobody was shot, or anything or harmed during this. The worst thing that happened is Lieutenant Nazario was pepper sprayed. So that's pretty much it. But from that point on, their interactions, the officer was able, during that whole 30-minute stop, the officer was finally able to, come close to Lieutenant Nazario. I believe his name is Officer Joe Gutierrez. He was able to get close enough to Lieutenant Nazario and pepper spray him, ultimately able to physically take him out of the vehicle along with another officer. But um, during during the whole encounters, I will say that I didn't like how the officer handled himself at all. I thought he was very unprofessional. I thought things could have been handled a little bit differently, but as far as getting him out of the car and doing it safely, I thought that he did well doing that. The officer was later he was later terminated from his job, something to do with the policies through their department, and it probably had something to do with the pepper spray. So, but as far as everything else, I thought he did a good job of getting Lieutenant Nazario out of the vehicle safely. So, but um, you have to remember, as I mentioned before, doing these type of things, especially in this day and age, officers' senses are very heightened when somebody doesn't want to get out of the car and doesn't want to get away from their car because all the resources are in their vehicle. So once they get away from the car, if they have a gun in the car, which he did have a gun in the car actually. So, but if you have a gun in the car, knife, if you have drugs in the car, they want to be close to those so they can either secure those, hide those somewhere, or do whatever you need to do. So, but during this whole time, they were able to get out of the car. They handcuffed him, and there was a discussion. They explained to Lieutenant Nazario thoroughly why he was stopped. They explained to him why he was placed in handcuffs, and the outcome of it turned out okay. I mean, as far as him going home, and that's what you ultimately want to do. Everybody wants to go home at the end of these encounters. Nobody wants to get hurt, harmed, or be. Everybody wants to be safe. So I will say that this video should have never been viral because it should have never gotten to this point. What should have happened? What should have happened is the stop conducted, and even though people don't like it, he should have been taken out of the vehicle, put in handcuffs, identified, and released once the vehicle registration paperwork was good and his name was good. He had no warrants on him or anything like that. So, but I think the problem is in this day and age, as in this day and age, people only watch 2 minutes of an encounter and they don't watch the whole thing in its entirety. You have to do that to have full disclosure of what's going on. If you don't do that, there's no point in even commenting about it or making a statement about it because you're being ignorant about the whole situation. So another thing that I am seeing though is that people also are, you know, people think because he's in the military that he should have got, special preference, I believe, just from comments. So, I think people are watching this video and seeing a man of color. They're seeing a man that's in military attire and they're just flipping their wigs. And that's not the case. It had nothing to do with his race. It was at nighttime. I don't believe they even knew what color he was before they even stopped him. I just think people are looking at these two things and not doing their full, analysis of the whole situation. So please do that. As I mentioned before, I'm gonna link the video in the description. Um, Watch it. Interesting points are at minute 20:10, I believe. Watch that and tell me what you think. How do you think that the traffic stop should have went? Be honest about that. I mean, do you think that? How do you think? How do you think it should have went? Do you think that that Lieutenant Nazario is at any fault of the stop? And my personal opinion is I think this should have been a 2 minute stop, and he should have been. I mean, as much as you guys don't like it, put in handcuffs, identified, vehicle information identified, and let go. That's how it should have went. Because by then it was already felony stop. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. That's my opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.